actually happening right now. So I just wanted to share with you my experience. And so growing up, I was born in New York. I was born in Queens, New York. Yes. And I was raised here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Georgia peach. And so growing up, I was raised in a Christian home. We went to church every week. We went to church every Sunday. However, I didn't really have a relationship with God. I didn't read the Bible for myself. I didn't really realize these things until later on. Yes, I went to church, but I always depended what the pastor had to say. So it was going to church, going to get my word. Yes, Lord, yes. And then going throughout my day, and that was that until the next week. And but I always felt God pursuing me, like, even though that I, wasn't like a super Christian or something, like, just very, very simple, I still felt his presence. I still felt that he was there. I knew he had a call on my life. I knew he had a purpose, just like he has on each and every one of your life. But I just couldn't figure it out. Like, I didn't know like how to dig deeper into that. And so God would pursue me through other people. While I was in middle school, people would invite me to their church, but I would decline because some people would make fun of me, and I'm like, oh, just to be cool. I was like, okay, no. But still, God pursued me. And journeying on through high school and through college. In high school, I found out that my father, he had cancer. He had leukemia, and it went on and off. I went on to college, and it started to get really bad. My last year, I was a senior in college. Just about 1 week before my college graduation, I got a phone call from my sister that my father passed away. And this was actually the best thing that could have happened in my walk with God. And this is because I was a daddy's girl, like, to the 200%.
Praise the Lord.
And so when he passed away, it allowed that void to be replaced by our Father in heaven, and seeing that relationship, my earthly father, was to him. And because before I would go to my dad for advice, and like he was very wise, and I looked up to him. But since he's not there, I couldn't turn to him, so it forced me to look to God. And you know what? Before I was his, I was the Lord's. And the same thing with you as well. We're our Heavenly Fathers first. And also what was significant about this was that I actually had a job right out of college working for my dad. And so since he passed away, everyone was like, okay, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But I had peace. I couldn't articulate it, but I had peace. And so maybe you could be going through a season right now where you have peace in something and everyone's trying to shake that. But just stay encouraged and flow with his peace, because it surpasses all understanding, even those around you. So through the season of peace, I worked in a retail job, and God was calling me to New York. Like I said, I was born in New York, but I actually never lived there. And so this was a huge step of faith for me because it was totally out of my comfort zone. So I moved to New York. I actually got a job just a few weeks after moving there. One of my friends was telling me about an airline called Emirates. And I'm like, who? Like, what is that? And I'm like, what is, I don't understand. And she told me about this flight attendant position and based in Dubai. And I'm like, I don't know, like, what is that? Do who? Like, and so she was like, yeah, this would be perfect for you. And then after like a few months of her like persuading me to look into it, I went on their website and I'm like, oh my goodness, I just had so much peace. And so I applied for the job and I had the interview. The interview was literally right across the street where I lived. Yeah, and which was totally amazing. And I went on 3 rounds of this interview, and out of hundreds of thousands of applicants, I was one out of like the 1,600 that got accepted that year. And just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I was about to leave to go to Dubai, they took back my application. And this was during the recession and the economy, and so they were telling me they don't know when or if they were gonna take my offer back, my contract back. So, but still I had peace. I'm like, okay, that's great. But then of course questions, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And but during that year, the Lord was telling me that I was gonna actually grow closer to Him. And I didn't understand this. So I'm like, I go to church, I go to Bible study. Like, how, like, I'm a Christian, like, how is this gonna happen? And so I'm in New York, and I'm in church, and someone next to me was like, have you met the young adults here at church? And I was like, no. And he's like, let me introduce you to them. And then I got introduced to the young adults at church, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like, there was just such a light. It was just, they were just fly, saved Christians. And what really stuck out to me was they used God in their conversations. It was actually my first time hearing people talk about God as if they're a part of their everyday life. And I was like, wow, like, I want to be, like, I want this, like, I was just so attracted to it. And so, and they did stuff in a fun, in a pure way. So we hang out, and these relationships really strengthened and edified me during this time. And so about 8 months later, I got a call back from Emirates, an email. They just wanted to see me. They didn't have, it wasn't a job offer, but just to see how I was doing. Yeah, they just wanted to see how I was doing. But at that time, I was like, Lord, like, this retail job was becoming monotonous. And I was like, okay, well, I was starting to apply to other places, but the Lord was telling me to rest, like, you're gonna get this job, like, don't apply for anything else. And so but I still applied, so I was like, okay, I'll apply. And so I applied, and I went on an interview. I was in the lobby, and I'll never forget, like, the Lord was telling me to leave. I was like, okay, well, I've never done this before, so I went, and I left, and like, this is a time, like, people don't have no jobs. I'm moving, like, the lobby, like, who does that? And so I left, and then still, like, a few weeks went by, and then I was walking to the interview, and he was telling me, turn back around. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, okay, I turned back around. And then my phone started ringing. I'm like, hello? And I was like, keep calling Habibi. This is Arabic in Dubai. And so it was Emirates giving me a joining date. So I would be leaving in the next few weeks to go to Dubai. And so it was just truly amazing how God had set that up because during that time of me delaying the move, those friendships that I established, I needed those friendships in the next season that was going to continue. And so I moved to Dubai, and Dubai is cool, y'all. Some people be like, okay, well, you have to be covered and this, that, and the other, but like it's totally westernized, and there's Christian churches there as well, but there wasn't one that I actually found like, okay, well, this is my home. This is where I want to go to. And so I was like, but you still miss that community. And still those friends that I met in New York, they were pursuing me, emailing me, checking up on me, how I'm doing. And sometimes, I call myself like an introvert with extrovert qualities. So the interview is like, okay, well, email, but then they'll ask a question where you have to reply, and then so I'm like, okay. So it was like developing these relationships, and so two of my friends started an online church. Many might know the gathering noises. It started off over the phone, and they had an online church, and I started to listen in on that, and they really talked about reading the Bible, and not just saying, okay, read the Bible, but equipping you, telling you what Bible they're using and what version, they're reading from. And so when I did that, at the time they were talking about the New Living Translation, like Application Study Bible. When I was reading the words, it was like coming out into life. Like I actually understood it, because before, like with the King James, it's like I don't talk like that, and I read the Bible while I sleep. So like reading, it really took my faith with God to a whole nother level, because that's when I actually started hearing from God. My thoughts changed, my desires changed. At that time, I was going on vacations, like every other month for my job, but I would research communities in need all around the world and go use that time to volunteer and spend time in Kenya, Ethiopia, and various places like that. And I'm like, God, like this is what I want to do for a living, because I'm here doing it, for free. And I'm just like, wow, like I'm very passionate about it. But I didn't tell anybody, because I'm like, okay, the only other person I know is Mother Teresa, and like she's old and wear long skirts. It's not like a fabulous or a flashy thing. And I didn't think like you can actually do it, and I didn't like tell anybody. But just a few minutes after that, I was stumbling online, looking. I was planning to go to Cape Town, and I was like, okay, well, I would love to volunteer at this church. And when I went on the church website, they talked about this internship program where you volunteer a year of your life within different departments in the church. And one of them was their community outreach arm. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. What? Okay. And then it was like also too, like young people like us, because you don't think, because what is like fly now? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna step out in faith, move to New York and be a model, or I'm gonna move to LA, drop everything, and go to there to be an actor. But when it comes to, okay, yeah, I want to like step out in faith and like serve God, it's like, oh, what? Like, are you sure? So I was looking on the website, and so this is an unpaid internship. Unpaid internship, like unpaid, like no rent, no accommodation, no gas money, no food or anything, so you just go. But I really felt a strong conviction from the Lord to go, and I was so excited. But then it came down to like, okay, well, I have to tell other people. And first of all, it has to take time for you to marinate and understand and get it. So imagine if God told you and you know that you still have to imagine like someone else. God didn't tell them. So don't expect everyone to be like, okay, yes. Yeah. But what they will see is by your walk and your conviction and your consistency. And so initially I was like, okay, God, yes, I'm excited. But then when it came down to it, I started to rationalize things. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to tell people? What are people going to think of me? And like I was in people bondage because I just got this job. I was there, I guess, into my second year. I just started a blog too. And so I was known as this international stewardess. And like, what are people gonna think of me? Like, I'm going to work for free. Like, how is this gonna work? How am I gonna articulate it? And I was new in my walk, so I didn't even understand like how to express it verbally to people. And so I thought, I was like, I'm gonna stay at my job for a year to save up money and then go. And so that's what I did. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna save up money so that way when people ask me, I'm like, yeah, I saved up money. But that year, but that year that I stayed in Dubai, I had no business there, but that year that I stayed was the worst year for me, career-wise. The grace was lifted. Initially, like when I got there, like I received awards, not like any like awards matter or anything, but it was just, I had so much favor that was unexplainable. Even my manager was like, she didn't understand like how, like even like the flights, and even when I went on a flight, it didn't seem like work. Like I would get butterflies. It was like my first day every day. But the thing is, you know what? God got me that job. And I was idolizing it because, and I didn't trust him. And I was more, I was putting the opinions of people, other people higher than what he had told me to do. And so me staying there, like I said, it was the worst year for me career-wise. And at that end of the year, going into Cape Town, I had less money than when he initially told me to go. Yes, and so, and also another supernatural thing was, God told me not to ask people for money, not to fundraise, and just as he laid it on my heart to go, he would lay it on other people's hearts to support me. Just as you go to your home, you know you're gonna have a bed. When you go to your parents' house, you know you're gonna have a place to lay your head on and food to eat. The same thing, with our Heavenly Father. And that's what he told me. And this was a step of faith for me because I love to fundraise. Like I would fundraise for communities. And so I would be good at doing those things. So he was pulling me into another faith journey for me, which I realized that he told me this so that way no one could take credit for the provision that I received during the time. And so I moved to Cape Town. Yes, and with probably like enough to last me like a month probably or so. But what I can tell you is that I went for a year, but I ended up being there 3 years later, still living by faith. But it's the people who you think will support you won't. Mm-hmm. And the people that you think never would do. Mm-hmm. And this is very significant and important because if the people who you think will support you you're going to look at them and you're going to praise them. And it's like, yes, such and such gave me this. Such and such gave me that. And you're going to expect, like, well, of course they should. And if it's someone you would never think, it's like, oh my gosh, you think of God. Because like how, like what? Like, so don't take it personal, guys. Don't take it personal. And think, okay, well, or have it planned, well, this person, if I go on a mission trip, this person, or rely on people, don't do that. It's God. God lays it on people's hearts. And he wants the glory, and not the specific individual. So on my faith journey walk, and the cool thing was, in this internship program that I was in, it was people from 18 to 35 and up. So we're all walking by faith, living by faith in different departments at this church. And it was really amazing and strengthening in my walk. But guys, don't get it twisted. Like, this wasn't just volunteer, like, okay, bring me tea and like sweep the floor. Like, it was a full-on job. 9 to 5 / exempt, meaning we left when our conviction was to go. So during that time, we led projects. I was specifically a part of a team that developed an early childhood development course for moms with babies to encourage them to reach their God-given potential. So this was a course in South Africa that we piloted. We did mentors, discipleship, you name it. So it was actually a full-on task that we did. And during this season and during this time, like, you have a purpose wherever you are. So I didn't know, and it's more than your title or your position. So I didn't know at that time, like, okay, exactly what the season is for, but I didn't think of, because of course, usually the number one thing is, so what are you gonna do next? So you have something, what is after that? But you need to focus on the now, and God will take care of what is next. Like, he is the author, it's not you, it's not in your strength. And you don't need to have a 5-year plan. Allow God to really partner with him and ask him what he wants you to do. And specifically with that, even in my desires and doing outreach and stuff like that, I never asked God specifically what my purpose was or what should I do. And sometimes when we go into our quiet time, we can come in selfishly, like, okay, well, God, I need this, or tell me this, but you're just focused on that. It was during that time I was telling you that I was just reading the Bible, just trying to understand and like growing in him. He really gave me these convictions and these next steps to do. And in the Bible it says, and I love it, seek the kingdom of God above everything else, above everything, and everything will be added unto you. And so I can really testify to that, because as I was seeking him, the puzzles, everything was connecting, the dots were connecting. So while I was in Cape Town, like I was saying, for the 3rd year, I really felt God was telling me to go. Because first I'm like, okay, I'm in Cape Town, I'm not getting paid. Like, how can you, like, what is a higher faith than this? And what I realized is God brings us from faith to faith and glory to glory. You will never arrive at trusting God. There's always going to be another level. And so while I was in this season of, okay, what is going to be next, I really felt God was telling me this so that way I can prepare my position to take over. Sometimes you might feel like, okay, you're in a season of transition, but it's not for you to focus on that and dwell on, okay, what am I going to do? And let me put out this resume and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, you need to focus on being strong in your role and making that strong. And so that way, when it's carried over, that it will be an easy transition. And so during that time, I was doing that. But I didn't really feel like, okay, God was telling me, and some people were like, okay, well, why don't you move to this country or this country? But I didn't want to just move to go somewhere. Like, God is my provider, so I wanted to go wherever he was that he would take me, because it would be in my own strength and my own ability if I just moved. Because we're on our free will. We can go. And so when I left, when I was in this transition of like, okay, I was still kind of like, okay, well, I know Atlanta is my home here. So I was like, okay, well, that's we're in ministry, I'm gonna go home. And I was like, okay, well, I was just trying to think, okay, God, I was like, well, I would love to, because I'm still, after doing service and ministry, I cannot go, back to corporate or anything else. I'm like, okay, ministry it is, and I was like, oh, I would love to, serve at my friend's church here, and her ministry, and just about 2 weeks before I left to come to Atlanta, I reached out to my friend, and she was like, oh my goodness, I've been praying for an assistant. And I didn't even know this, I didn't even know, she needed help. And then, first of all, she would even think of me or trust me in this capacity. And this is the exact, same ministry that I was telling you about that I would have loved to serve and to be a part of while I was here. And then I didn't even have a ticket. So people, I left on December 25th, which was my birthday, and I didn't have a ticket. And some people were mad at me because I come to America, they didn't know I was here. Me either, I didn't know I was coming. I'm like, you didn't tell me you were here, I didn't, And so I left on my birthday. I actually turned 30 on my birthday, and it was such a significant season and transition. It was very powerful. And many of you may be turning 30 or a milestone age, and you may feel like, okay, well, Lord, I feel like you're calling me to this state or to this place, but I don't have, I ain't got no man, I have no kids, so there's men here in this state where I am, so I'm gonna stay here, okay? So God will bring you someone, and in His time, in His walk. So for me, I'm 30, where people are like, okay, at this age, you should have $1 million and stuff. But no, true success is walking in His will for your life. And that is at any age, so don't let anyone tell you any differently. So I came here, and literally God provided like no other. Because first of all, this is America. This is America, y'all. So how am I going to do this? But just how God had provided me, and while I was in Cape Town, it's the same way here. And He used so many different various people that it's I didn't say anything, but it's I don't have a bill, and then God will lead this person, to give me that exact amount. And it was just really, literally walking by faith in this moment here. Can I get a book from, yeah, thank you so much. But I'm just running out of time here. But I just wanted to share with you my book, which has the rest of my journey, which is here in Atlanta, as well, plus so many different resources, Brave by Faith, Stepping Out in Faith and Doing What God has called you to do. This is actually in Cape Town, the land that God had called me to do. But I just really want to encourage you that God's promises are true. He will never leave you. And what He has told you to do, He will bring it to fruition. So the work that He has started in you, He will bring it through to you. And if it's stirred in your heart to do missions, or maybe an internship program abroad or globally, I have a resource guide in the back with a full-on resource guide. If you feel like you want to go to China, India, anywhere, there's so many different opportunities in the back of this book that you can apply and be a part of. I have a table outside that I would love to meet you all. If you have any questions or anything, you can come by, and I'd love to hug y'all. So, but thank you for your time, and I love you.